Anime. Anime? What is anime? Is this anime? What about this? Is this an anime? Put the anime girls in the bag! But sir, these are no anime girls. They are Chinese. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. All this and more in this blatant internet historian ripoff. Hi, welcome to the School of Anime. Have a seat, make yourself at home, care for dinner, maybe a bath, or perhaps me? Unlucky, class is starting. Anime. Anime is a Japanese term for the art of animation. If you look very closely, you might just notice that anime is actually just an abbreviation for the word animation. Wow. Very clever. The Japanese do not discriminate. Any form of animation is considered anime regardless of style or origin. Naruto? Anime. Disney? Anime. Minecraft porn? Technically. The Western definition of anime is a little different, however. This way, sir. Come right through. Stop right there! What? You may not pass. Why? Why? Looked in the mirror lately? As far as I can tell, you are not very kawaii desu. The Western definition of anime refers to Japanese animation only. For now, that is. Because as the medium keeps growing and anime starts to become more influential internationally, anime as we know it might just change. And the one pulling the strings is none other than China. China is big. Real big. Like, big. China has a population of 1.4 billion people, which is big. To put this into perspective, more people live in this circle alone than there are people who live in my house. And contrary to popular belief, all of these people are real human beings. They eat, they shit, they have to watch something while they shit, but unfortunately for them, there is nothing to watch. YouTube? Blocked. Movies? Banned. 1986 Journey to the West? Now we're talking. China has a lot of people and is therefore a big market, but with the Chinese government limiting foreign media, banning or censoring things that they don't approve of, and China potentially halting the import from certain countries as political bargaining chips, China is also a tough market. But despite all of that, anime in China is surprisingly popular. In 2017, China's anime market was valued at $26.4 billion. For comparison, the US market was valued at about $130 million. When Your Name was released in Japan, it was a smash hit, breaking records left, right and center, earning a never-before-seen $9.1 million in its opening weekend. Wow, very impressive. China's opening weekend? $41 million. The Japan Times claimed that since then the Chinese anime market has grown to $31 billion, which might be true. I don't know. I'm not paying to read an article, but if this information is accurate, that would officially put China above Japan as the biggest market for anime, once again proving that China is in fact number one. Student Chinese know your father! Now you may be wondering, but why? Why is anime so popular in China? Well, move closer to the screen and let Senpai explain. Never gets old. It's 1949. World War II ended with a bang. After years of war, China and Japan are not on very good terms. While Japan was busy recovering from the war, a young man named Hayao Miyazaki looked at the third hand that grew out of his stomach and thought to himself, big ass anime titties. And that's how anime was born. I'm paraphrasing, of course. While that was going on, the Chinese Communist Party rolled up to the CEO of China and said, "Get me your fucking country!" And it worked. The victorious Mao Zedong and his mates are celebrating when one of them asks, "What now?" Mao Zedong thinks for a second and replies, "I don't know. I never thought we'd get this far." Time skip. It's 1976. Mao Zedong dies. A man named Deng Xiaoping stands up and says, "Enough is enough. The people are suffering. We need economic reforms." In 1978, China adopted a free market reform and I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound very comrade to me. Carl is crying. Anyway, it worked. More than 10% economic growth per year, 800 million people out of poverty, and China now holds the title for the fastest sustained expansion by a major economy in history. Thanks Deng. Very cool. But now what? Now that those minor problems like poverty or famine have been resolved, the real threat starts to show its face. A threat that the entirety of the developed world has been struggling with for decades. Boredom. Turns out, when you are not constantly fighting for your life, you have a lot of spare time. Time to think. And how are we supposed to keep going knowing that your life is completely and utterly insignificant in the scope of the universe? We need something to distract us of our own thoughts. We need entertainment. Bad news. Chinese entertainment kinda sucks. Except for 1986 Journey to the West. Just look at this cinematic masterpiece. This is good, but it's not enough. We need more, says the man in charge of national television. When Japan suddenly kicks open the door, I present to you Ikkyu-san. So Ikkyu-san gets aired on national television, which is somewhat surprising since it's only been a couple of decades since the war. Anyway, it's a success. Of course, it's not the most popular thing. I mean, come on. It's competing against classics like 1986 Journey to the West, but it was popular enough to justify more anime in the future. Later in the 90s, shows like Astro Boy, Slam Dunk, and Doraemon kept the ball rolling. The people loved it, and they wanted more, marking the beginning of the end. At this point, you might be wondering, is this a history class or something? I don't remember signing up for... Shut up. Shut the fuck up, okay? I'll get to it. Here, take this spinning anime girl thing. Zoomers love this shit, right? So, China calls an emergency meeting. It looks like the people they like these cartoons. We should make those. Yeah. How about we just import it like everyone else? So that's no bro. That's no way. Is Among Us still relevant? No. You don't have to tell me. I'm hip. I'm cool. Look, I'm dripping. So China starts to produce its own anime, bringing us classics like Black Cat Detective, which is a Chinese Tom and Jerry knockoff, Big-Headed Kid and Small-Headed Father, which is a show about a big-headed kid and his small-headed father, Calabash Brothers, which I don't even know what it is, but apparently it was pretty popular though. I don't know, dude. I didn't watch any old Chinese animations. I was busy not being born. They really tried to make it work, but in the end had to come to the conclusion that Japanese animation just hits different. Attempts were made to ban certain anime and manga, but ultimately the Chinese government received a grim reminder that they lived in fear of retards with an internet connection. Hi, it's me, Xi Jinping, here to check up on... Oh my god, is that Attack on Titan? No. Oh, thank God. The Chinese weebs didn't care about restrictions. They were desperate for more mediocre Japanese cartoons, and they were willing to do whatever was necessary to get their hands on it. You got the goods? Yeah. Over time, however, This led to a massive dedicated fanbase and efforts to license anime legally, and eventually China had to throw the towel into the ring. The Chinese weebs had won. Yet another glorious victory for the degenerates. I'm sure Miyazaki is proud of us. Years later, China has now become the biggest market for anime due to the combination of this massive fanbase and the younger generation having a lot of money to burn for some reason due to something about cheap real estate in the 90s and current surging property prices or something. I don't know, dude. I'm a loser, not a lawyer. This mustache, it's fake. China being anime's most profitable market is both a good and a bad thing. On one hand, this means that the animation industry can make a shit ton of money, and maybe, just maybe, animators will be paid livable wages. But on the other hand, it also means that it is very likely that many anime from now on will do anything necessary to not break Chinese censorship laws, which, just to give you an example, prohibit things like drug use, violence, gambling, or racism. I'm looking at you, Attack on Titan. To add to that, less than 50 foreign movies are allowed to be screened in Chinese cinemas every year, which includes anime movies. With a population this big and almost no competition, just being one of these movies means you can easily double, triple, or tenfold your revenue. So many Hollywood movies are making sure to incorporate a lot of Chinese elements to higher their chances of being one of those movies. And I don't think it's far-fetched at all to think that anime might start doing the same in the future. I wouldn't be surprised to see if anime will change from having a Chinese influenced character here and there, to Brock giving us an in-depth play-by-play analysis on why Taiwan is not a legitimate country. You know what's the craziest thing about this entire situation? All of this information, and yet, this is not what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to give some much needed backstory to what I was actually gonna talk about, and somehow that resulted into this. This video is getting way too long and it's gonna be a pain to edit, so I'm splitting it up in 2 parts. Look forward to part 2 of this video called The Rise of Chinese Anime. Or something like that. I haven't decided yet. You don't want to miss it, so make sure to ground pound the subscribe button and ring the taco bell. Turns out that not one of you guys are subscribed. Can you believe it? If you like this video, consider supporting me on Patreon, like these beautiful people. Mwah. Anyway, without part 2, this video really doesn't make much sense. Especially the intro, so I hereby apologize for wasting your time. To make it up to you, I will now proceed to do my best Journey to the West impression. 师傅，师傅，悟空，师傅，悟空。阿弥陀佛。